In today's presentation, we'll be talking about Cyclone Nargis. Cyclone Nargis happened in the year of 2008, and its primary affected region was in Myanmar or Burma, and it is considered as the eighth most deadliest tropical cyclone in history. As we can see in this list, there are over the official death toll is considered to be 138,373 people. But however, it is believed that these numbers are fabricated, and the real number of people who lost their lives is considered to be around 6 lakhs to 7 lakhs. And so the cyclone basically began in the Bay of Bengal, and from there was a low pressure system in the Bay of Bengal in April 27th, and the IMD had declared that this system has become a tropical depression, and it was about 750 kilometers to the east of Chennai or Madras. And the depression moved about at 11 kilometers per hour northwest, and the banding around the center increased, and soon the depression was upgraded into a tropical cyclone, and it was given the name Cyclone Nargis. It was about 547 kilometers from Chennai when it converted into a complete cyclone. Over here, we can see the path of the cyclone. From the green dots represent the point where it was just a minor depression, and slowly it gained water vapor and clouds. And as it progressed along the southwest monsoon winds, it reached the path of Myanmar, where it became a full-fledged Category 4 and Category 5 cyclone. Over here, we can see these yellow marks are still a tropical depression or severe depression, and these orange marks show a Category 1 cyclone and Category 2, and the red marks is a Category 4 cyclone. And once it made its landfall, it progressed inland all the way up to the inner parts of Myanmar. Over here, we can see the wind speeds. So off the coast of Burma, there was a wind speed of around 180 to 200 kilometers per hour. But as it made landfall on the coast, the maximum wind speed was recorded of around 250 kilometers per hour, which is a very severe cyclone or Category 4 cyclone. And the Irrawaddy Delta, which you can see in this map here, this delta was extremely severely affected, and the towns of Labuta and Dedai were in direct path of the cyclone. And as it went inland, the wind speed gradually decreased, and it reached, after crossing Burma, it became a tropical storm and downgraded to a tropical depression. So this map shows us the landfall of Cyclone Nargis. Most You can see the south coast of Burma is mostly affected, and the Irrawaddy Delta or Ayeyarwady Delta is the main most severely affected region, as it took the first impact of the cyclone, and there was no barrier to avoid the cyclone in this region. But as it went inland, the severity of the cyclone reduced. So now we can see the environmental impact. Irrawaddy Delta being a primarily agricultural region, the rice fields were flooded, and the harvest of rice in that year was completely destroyed due to the cyclone. It is estimated that 65% of the rice yield of Burma in that year is completely wasted. The winds were above 135 miles per hour, which is around 200 kilometers per hour. And there was a rise in water level or the river level up to 7.6 meters in some areas. Heavy rainfall was damaging to houses and crops. and there was a severe flood after the cyclone, which went approximately 40 to 50 kilometers inland from the coast. And in this region of 40 to 50 kilometers, the farm, livestock, fisheries were completely destroyed. Over here, we can see a aerial image of the flood caused by the cyclone, and the flood shows us how severe the rice fields were affected, and a town in this picture is completely submerged under the flood water. The economic impact of the cyclone was resulting in about $10 billion worth of damage. Majority of the population of Burma and the region worked in rice field and fisheries, and therefore they lost their houses, their harvest, and their income. And about 75% of the buildings had collapsed, and the in the Irrawaddy Delta region, 95% of the buildings had collapsed, since they were primarily made out of weak raw materials such as wood and hay, and around 1,163 temples were also destroyed. Over here, we can see the sheer destruction caused by the cyclone. It shows a village, and there's not even one house which is left standing. The social impact of the cyclone, many children were orphaned and many people were misplaced. 50,000 people have still not been found and are missing, and there was a lack of food and water for survivors since the region had been completely cut off from mainland due to floods. And estimates show that 80,000 people could have died in the town of Labuta alone, and this shows us that the death toll, which is officially recorded, is not very realistic. It is estimated that 2.4 million people were severely affected by the cyclone, and there was structural damage throughout Myanmar, and millions of people were left homeless and displaced after this event. This is a picture of a family which had suffered in the aftermath of the cyclone, and you can see as their home is completely destroyed and they are completely economically wasted. The main effect of the cyclone, I mean, the main reason why the cyclone was so severe and the effects were so devastating was due to the poor government response. During the years of the cyclone, Myanmar was ruled by a military government, and it was basically a dictatorship. And due to this, they did not allow foreign persons to come into the country, and um, this multiplied the scale of the disaster. After 6 days of the storm, the government, which was underprepared and unable to cope, asked the United Nations formally for help, and even then, they did not let international aid go through, and they placed hard restrictions on even the most basic assistance. It was not until 9th May, which was 1 week after the cyclone, that they gave in to international pressure to accept outside aid, and they accepted food, medicine, and basic supplies, but still did not allow foreign aid workers to enter the country. We can here over here we can see voluntary Red Cross members of Myanmar giving aid to children in this shelter, and over here we can see them rebuilding a road or a footpath so that people can walk. And international aid was allowed into Myanmar a full almost 3 weeks after the initial cyclone impact, and the Southeast Asian nations of SEAN, uh, ASEAN was allowed into the country to deliver aid, and after negotiations between the Asian states and the Myanmar leader, Than Shwe, it was declared on 23rd May that other international workers would be allowed into the country. This was 3 weeks after the cyclone had initially struck. And responses, most of the aid was mostly from foreign international organizations and international aid through UN or countries. And it was very small percentage of the aid was from Myanmar government. Due to the widespread corruption and dictatorship, there was very little consideration for the citizens. We can see over here Italian Air Force plane is uh, giving out food and rations on Rangoon International Airport. Over here, there's a Bangladesh. No, this is a Thailand Air Force plane which is sending supplies such as drinking water and food aid and packaged food, dry food. This was from the Thai Red Cross, and Bangladesh had also sent emergency aid and aid workers who were used to and trained with dealing with cyclones. The Indian Navy and Air Force had supplied 140 tons of packages in the form of tents, blankets, and medicines. They had also sent 50 medical staff to set up two mini hospitals. And United Kingdom had given 17 million pounds in aid, and they had sent an international relief team with coordination of the international relief effort. And the United States had donated $41 million to the relief effort, including help from the American Red Cross. In these pictures, we can see volunteers taking out drinking water supplies from the US Air Force jet. And over here is packages of US aid, which is packaged food and rations. In conclusion, the cyclone had vast, devastating effects all throughout the country, and the death toll of Cyclone Nargis is much higher than official figures. It is said that the military government dictator of Burma had played down the statistics in order to avoid widespread criticism from the international community. And the initial response to the disaster was extremely slow and poor. This led to further loss of life since many people had been cut off from their resources and food and drinking water was not available. Uh, if there was a swift response from the government, more than half or even more than that, the lives could have been saved of the people in Myanmar. This tells us the importance of natural disaster management and how important quick action plans are required to tackle natural disasters of such a scale. Thank you.